Hello and welcome to my channel on human design. Well, today we're going to go into a special investigation. I received a question from one of my regular viewers, Waking the World, and she said, random question, Richard. Been watching adrenaline junkie folk, just the one in this instance who snowboarded down Everest, as you do, successfully, and then he does it again and they fall to their death. Because once clearly wasn't enough. Folk who can dive or climb without ropes. And I wonder if there's an aspect of human design that is present in such people. Would they not have to be generators for starters because of the extreme physical demands of such sports? Good question. Haven't really thought about it before. So I've looked at human design in different ways with you. And I've shown you, you obviously know you can get your birth chart. I've shown you can get the country chart if you know when the country was born. I've shown you can zero in on it as a particular moment, as I did in the last video. So it's a tool that you can use for certain things. And in this sense, we are trying to track what is there something in human design that will show us why people do these extreme sports. Well, I'm not an extreme sportsman, but I'd like to find out. So let's find out. I went through 2 or 3 sites. I didn't do a deep dive to get the names of the top extreme sports people. And of course, I couldn't always get their birth time and details, but I did in 10 cases. So we're going to have just a mini investigation of 10 extreme sports stars and see if there's something in common, see what we can find out about just as a short investigation. If I was going to do a proper one, I'd like to do 1,000 people, but that would take a long time. So we're just going to do a snapshot of 10, and we're going to go through them one at a time, and we'll see what we find. Okay, so I'm going to start off with Alana Blanchard. She's a surfer. She's from Hawaii. She's been surfing since she was 4. And when you watch the videos, you know, she's really just very good at it. You know, makes it look easy, it says here in the write-up. And she's so successful. She's top-ranking champion surfer, and she's traveling the world as a fashion model for swimwear. Nice work if you can get it. What's her design? Now, in the design, we see there is only one channel, the channel of mutation. So this is something that is a pulsic, unstable base. And if you look deep into the sacral, you'll see it's only got the 3rd gate. And the 3rd gate is exalted. It's a gate about finding fertility, finding an order in the chaos, if you like. And what is the fertile order that is mutative? In her case, it's the sea. It's the ability to know which angle to get on the wave, and which is going to be a big wave, and which is the fertile wave, and the unstable base being able to adapt. Because after all, there is no awareness in this chart. Think about it. The awareness is either the spleen or the solar plex or the ajna. Those are the 3 centers of awareness. There's no awareness with this one. It's purely response. So she's riding on unstable waves, and she's very good at it. Channel of mutation. What else? Adrenalized sacral. So the sacral is adrenalized. There's power there. Is that a key? When you think about extreme sports, you know, the adrenaline system taking you into extreme conditions to get you through. Kind of makes sense, huh? What else? Well, we've got the 15th gate. Now, the 15th gate is called in human design the gate of extremes. Could that be a link to all these people? Let's find out. Let's go to the next one. Okay, for the next one, we have Xavier De Le Rue, big French mountain snowboarder. I mean, wow. Began his pro career on the Motorcross Pro 4, but since then has taken more myriad medals, titles, and good stories, including 2 gold medals from the FIS Snowboarding World Championship. So, you know, snowboarding, the speed at which you have to go, the things you the way the whole body has to move to be able to do that well. It's really impressive, isn't it? Let's have a look at the design. Okay, so we've got an open route. So our idea of the route in terms of being always adrenalized is not a constant. Here is an exception. And this one isn't a generator. This one is a manifester, a powerful manifester. There is the will involved here. The will and the wanting to be in control, naturally being able to be in control if you get it right. The 21-2 in the design Sun. There is no 15th gate. There's no gate of extremes in this one. So they don't tally in a way, unless you realize that, well, the route is open, and people that have an open route in the not self are always, moving too fast, and rushing through things, and having too many things stacked up and putting themselves under pressure. Well, he's a manifester, right? Putting himself under pressure at high speeds, all that adrenaline rush, it can be addictive. And we have the 58th gate, which is part of the channel of insatiability, the design of an insatiable one. So you can see that he could get off on the adrenaline rush. It's very powerful will, the manifester releasing the emotional energy, in a bath, this kind of way. If you've ever seen a 12-22 go, it's quite something. Throwing himself into the experience in the 36. Consistent awareness with the brainwave, the 57-20. So consistent awareness of the environment and what's going on as he's moving at speed, because it changes so fast, of course. So we have a manifester with no 15th gate and with an open route. Let's go to number 3. Okay, we have Bethany Hamilton. At the age of 13, she was surfing near her home in Hawaii when she was attacked by a 14-foot tiger shark. Ooh, she lost the whole of her left arm. Nasty. But she was back on a surfboard only a month after her release from the hospital. Since then, she has risen to the highest levels of extreme sport and has won countless competitions and championships. Wow. So they're really, this comeback. Now, what have we got here? This is a projector. So look at this. Now, projectors isn't what you'd expect in extreme sports. When they're younger, the projectors I have seen, do incredible things and often put themselves in situations where they really have to be on the ball. I have seen that. But this is quite something. It's a 1-3 design with the channel of struggle. And as I've often told you, the strugglers don't give up. Oh, you got my arm, and that's not going to stop me. I'm going to be back sooner than you can possibly imagine. So highly adrenalized struggle into awareness. The life has to be of purpose, of individual purpose. A 3/4 individual design with the channel of awakening and the channel of structuring as well. And then we've got this alpha channel there, to really get on track and stay on track. But a projector. We also see the 15th gate. So the gate of extremes is there. Part of her identity is to be extreme, to do things, in her way, in a logical way, to get back on the board. So very impressive as a projector. A 1-3 resilient body, third line bodies kind of bounce back, but hey, you lose an arm and you get back on a surfboard in a month. That's really quite something. That's really quite something. All right, let's go on to the next one. Okay, so number 4, Travis Pastrana. Extreme sports, in this case, rallycross, motocross, stunt performing, and NASCAR. There isn't much that he doesn't do. So he's a motorsports competitor. So what is he? Now we've got an adrenalized sacral again in a focused energy in the channel of concentration. This moves up into the channel of discovery, so which is all about the experience. So an adrenalized manifesting generator this time, because he's also got a will, a very powerful will. And what else? The gate of extremes in the 15th gate is there again. 3 of the 4 motors are there. Someone with a very abstract mental process that really needs to live a larger than life, or they want to, which he certainly does. So adrenalized, focused energy going into the experience, and with a will to hold it all together. And the identity involves extremes unconsciously in the body, you know, to be able to experience the extremes under pressure and focus, and have the will to hold it all together. All right, manifesting generator. Let's go to number 5. All right, number 5 is Ryan Sheckler, with 7.6 million social media followers. He's one of the most influential athletes of extreme sports, professional skateboarder this time, earned in his first 2 sponsors, Oakley and Etnies, at the tender age of 7. So he's been doing skateboarding for a very long time, you know, and has starred on the Red Bull TV and various other sponsors. So a master at skateboarding. What is the design? Again, we get the adrenalized sacral. We get the channel of concentration. We get an adrenalized emotional system. So the emotional system is under pressure, and it's under pressure through the channel of recognition, which is really, it's a great deal. It's about feeding really deeply, but it's like the experience. What's the next experience? So it's got to be different every time, you know. There's got to be a lot of diversity in it. Well, he certainly gets that with skateboarding. And no gate of extremes in this one. So the awareness is emotional, but it's also practice, and it's also this ability to have focused and concentrated energy while he's in the game. All right, let's go to the next one. So here we have Kelly Slater, and one of the most influential names in extreme sports. He's a pro surfer. He's won more than 50 surfing contests and hit the top of the podium. A record 11 times champion of the World Surf League competition. And he took home the competition's main title 5 consecutive years, proving his dominance as a surfer. Let's have a look and see what he is. We've got a manifesting generator, a lot of power there through the channel of charisma. We've got awareness all the time, again, through the channel of the brainwave, which can really perceive in the now exactly what's going on. Always in touch with the now. It's a ongoing awareness in him. The sacral isn't adrenalized this time, but the emotional system is adrenalized in terms of sensitivity. Tribal. The tribe is a very strong energy. Wherever you've got a tribal channel, this is usually very powerful. Whatever it is, wherever it is, there's a lot of strength in the tribe. He has his own direction, which is like, see what happens. And yeah, fixed in, centered in on himself, that would certainly help. And the 5th gate. Now, the 5th gate looks to the 15. 5th gate I interpret as someone who really needs to be working or doing things in their own timing. But I have seen 5th gates go into extreme conditions, because after all, they do look towards the 15 all the time, and find their timing within that, find the way of being in that extreme and making their timing hold it, anchor it. So that kind of makes sense. This gate of rhythm, this gate of holding the pattern, keeping the focused energy on fixing things, no matter what the environment. So this relationship between the 5 and the 15 should be taken into account in our investigation. Interesting. Manifesting generator. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, the next one is Sean White, nicknamed the Flying Tomato. Great. Popular snowboarder and skateboarder who's become a household name for those interested. Since becoming the protege of skating legend Tony Hawk as a mere kid, so again started early, He's dominated the extreme sports scene. The 10-time ESPY award winner has taken home 3 Olympic gold medals. Now that takes something. He's also won a whopping 24 X Games medals in 3 different sports. A lot of power, obviously. Let's have a look at the design. Again, we've got an adrenalized sacral, but instead of being through the focused energy, it's through the channel of maturation, which is about, you know, one project after another, you know, getting better and better each time. The beginning, the middle, the end, knowing how to mature in the developmental process to keep getting, you know, better and better returns, better and better understandings of how to complete the cycle. But the sacral is under pressure. We've got the 5th gate. So there's the 5th gate again, that's in the design, holding the pattern, under pressure, centered in on himself. So again, we've got the 3410, part of the centering circuit, the channel of exploration, you know, to center in himself throughout the whole process. A manifesting generator, because of the will and the emotional system reaching to the throat through the 1222 again. And as I've already said, the 1222 has got kind of extremes built into them in the pulsic nature of the sudden change of emotions from high to low, you know, the darkest of the dark, and suddenly everything's wonderful again. Split second change in the emotional system. But really it's you know, all individual gates, all individual channels will have this pendulum effect from one extreme to another when the pulse hits in. So that's interesting. So manifesting generator, strong will, tribal again, channel of struggle, they don't give up. You know, there's built-in fighter in him. And yeah. But the main thing is we've got someone with all 4 motors, very powerful. You can't get more power than having all 4 motors with the 6th gate, with the channel of struggle, and being able to center in on whatever's going on, centering in on himself during it. All right, next one. So our next one is Fabio Wilmer, native of Austria. He's a stunt cyclist, pro mountain bike rider. He climbed his way to the top of the list of well-known extreme sports athletes for filming death-defying stunts and uploading them to YouTube. Good move, man. So they've always been well viewed, and he's become a household name because of what he does with the bike. One time he balanced his bike on top of Europe's highest dam, 200 meters in the air. Wow. Now, when you look and you see the chart, we have the sacral under pressure with the channel of mutation. We've already seen this before. And the full channel this time, not just the 5 or the 15, the full channel. So extremes is built in, locked into the way that he operates. And the 15 is the only gate in the G center. And then he's got a busy mind as well. So a pure generator with the sacral under pressure and the 15 and the 5. Okay, next one. All right, here we have Reinhold Messner, called the greatest climber history has ever witnessed. He's a legendary Italian mountain climber who is famous for making his first solo ascent of Mount Everest without supplemental oxygen. Wow. He's also the first climber to ascend all 14 worldwide peaks that are over 8,000 meters high. He's led over 500 ascents, primary in the Dolomites. And he's also written over 65 books based on his experience in mountaineering. Wow. Okay, so what do we got here? We've got a manifester. We've got a manifester with, so an open sacral, an open root, but we do have the manifesting energy of the 3635. So this is like an emotional energy that runs through him that wants, let's do it differently, never enough. When you're thinking about open sacrals, it's never enough. It's never enough. 500 ascents. Wow. He's got the gate of extremes. He's got fixed awareness, really pattern recognition, which you need to do if you're climbing mountains. You need to know where there's a handhold or a foothold. That could be very handy. And the more you do it, the more skillful you become. He's here again as an alpha to lead himself. So yeah, that emotional channel. So that emotional channel, the channel of transitoriness, will bring him to want to do more of it, but different. A different mountain. Different risks. A new challenge. Leading himself, keep going with that. And also the 62 and the 16. It's not surprising that he's written various books, because he's got the storyteller in him. The 1156, he's got the ability to articulate in words and to be very pernickety about it, to be able to write with the details, to describe, his experience and what he did in detail while telling the story. So that makes sense, to be in the experience and lead himself one step at a time through that alpha. Interesting. All right, let's go to the final one. So our last example is Kylian Jornet, the ultra artist. At 33, he was already making a lot of noise. He's a ski mountaineering, ultra trail, mountain running Spaniard. He certainly likes diversity, and you can see that in the mind, again in the 1156. Think about it. This is coming out more and more, that an abstract mind or an unusual mind that doesn't fit into the normal ways of thinking is also part of, where can I push things to? How can I find out, what's the limits? Interesting. Looking at all the different possibilities and wanting to live a larger than life. And here again, we have in the chart the adrenalized sacral, also in the channel of maturation, which I've already spoken about, and the fifth gate, and a will. Yeah, a triple split. So that's also funny when you think about the variety of things that he gets involved with, and the fact that there's kind of, almost not literally, but there's kind of three people in there, or three different definitions within him, flipping from one thing to another. But the constancy of the, from one thing to another, the beginning, the middle, the end, the energy to get involved in something and see it through the end, no matter how difficult it may be. So fifth gate again, and a pure generator. Well, what did we find out? So, waking the world and viewers, the final results of our mini investigation. Out of 10 people, 7 of them are generators or manifesting generators. So yes, the energy to keep with the extreme is there. But we have 2 manifestors also. So both of the energy going from the emotional system to the throat. And we have 1 projector. Also, we have gate 15 coming up 5 out of 10 times. The gate of extremes. We have the 5th gate coming up 3 times. So out of the 10, that channel is activated or open to being activated in 8 out of 10. So what does that tell us? That tells us that, well, human design is true. The gate of extremes is a significant factor for those people who are involved in extreme sports. But we had to check. And then there's 2 that have nothing in the 5 or the 15. But still, it gives you an overall view that the 15 and that channel, the channel of rhythm, is an important part of people that like extreme sports. So what else did we learn? We learned that there were 3 alpha channels in our selection of 10, that there were 2 other people that had the 31st gate and 2 other people that had the 7th gate. So that 7 out of 10 had something in the alpha. And when you think about the alpha channel being logical and keeping on track, and the leadership of that, the role of leader in the 7th gate, the role of influence and the influencer in the 31. So you get this effect of these people also being great influencers, in social media. That's listed on many of the write-ups, but also leading themselves, leading themselves to where they want to get to. Also on the individual level, we have the channel of struggle twice. We have gate 38 3 times. We have gate 28 3 times. So when you think about the fighter and the one that is in opposition, that's 5 out of 10 have this fighter in them. And then there's another 3 that are looking for the energy to be able to fight for purpose, for individual purpose. To be someone who goes into extreme sports, it's got to be of purpose to you. You've got to be able to fight for that, to get to that extreme. Also, what's really interesting is that we get gate 58 6 times. That's more times than any other gate, and the 58 is like it's part of the channel of being addicted to things. It is there looking for improvement. It's the joy of being able to improve. It's the joy of the love of life itself. This adrenal pressure to love the life, and improve along the way. And it's just so much fun. So joy has a big part to play in the extreme sports from our 10 that we've looked at. So the other interesting thing is that we have the fixed route in 8 people. And you would expect that. You'd expect there to be the energy, the adrenal energy available for pushing through the extremes that they do. But we do have 2 that didn't. So again, you can call that an over-amplification and people that would be burnt out by doing it too much. It's further illustrated in terms of the pressure and the importance of pressure. And then we get 5 out of the 10 with a format channel. So an adrenalized sacral. And we have another 3 that have at least 1 of the format gates. So we can certainly say that the adrenalized sacral is a major part of what extreme sports people will normally have in them. And you've got to remember that with our exceptions, there's always going to be exceptions. We don't know what the drives are for everyone. I don't know the full details of the people. I don't know what kind of childhood they've had. I don't know what kind of life they've led to be able to want to do this, apart from what's in their design. We can just look and see what we see. And it's been really fun to have a look at this. It's been wonderful. So we got a result. And yes, it's going to be mainly generators and manifesting generators on our little investigation. So there we go. I didn't know till I looked. And you can also look. You can look at whatever it is that you're interested in, get the time, date, and place of the person, and see what you have. And do a number of them and see what you can find out, just as we've done. Good. I hope you've enjoyed that. If you have, please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll be back again with something completely different. Bye for now.